Joined now by Rob Williams, Rob the hockey guy, the national sports editor of the Daily Hive, and its offside sports vertical. And more on those stories here in a moment, Rob. But first, the Canucks and their power play. Been talking power play here today, and who should be the fifth member of it? You have a theory.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the numbers for the power play, like it's been a real issue, and not just for a short period of time now. Like, remember when they first pulled Andrei Kuzmenko off PP1? They've never really recovered from that, and since the All-Star break, they're fourth worst in the NHL in terms of power play percentage. We're almost at 2 months here. I mean, this is almost April, and 10 games left in the regular season. This is a real issue for the Vancouver Canucks that they'd like to have fixed before the playoffs begin. And I mean, I really feel like the power play needs to be a real weapon for this team to make a deep run into the playoffs. So the problem, I mean, Talkett has tried a number of different combinations, and I'm going to give this topic. I'm going to give credit to Paul from my hockey team last night, who asked me. He's like, "Why is Suter on PP1?" And I was like, "Well, he's a left shot." And he's like, "Yeah, but he's not doing it." And you know what? He's right. You look at the numbers. Suter has 4 power play points, just 2 power play goals this season. The problem is, who do you replace him with? And there are not a lot of good options. If Lindholm is the biggest name. He's hurt. He's a right shot. I think you ideally want to have a left shot for Miller coming downhill, where he can fake the shot and pass into the middle, which works so well with Bo Horvat. Unless you want to really kind of recreate your power play and have more plays coming down from the other side with Pettersson, maybe that's not a bad idea. Then I think you need a left shot. And otherwise, Nils Höglander, is that the answer? I mean, he has no power play points this season, famously, but he's barely played on the power play. And if you look at all the opportunities all the other guys have received, he's not exactly lagging well behind. Like Connor Garland is up there for power play minutes. He's got 2 power play points, both assists. I mean, that ties in with Anthony Beauvillier for power play points on the Canucks, and Carson Soucy for power play points on the Canucks. So it's looking pretty bleak. So Höglander, I guess, hey, sign me up. I'm not sure how many other options they have right now, though.
I just don't get the reluctance to give Höglander a look, given all the things you said about the last couple of months. If it's just about hammering shots as a left-handed forward, the guy's got 22 goals. Like, of course he doesn't have power play points because he hasn't been on the power play, or when he has been, it's been on the second unit, and they don't see much ice and they haven't been productive. But this feels like these 10 games here to go, like, experiment a little. And if part of that bumper job is puck retrievals when shots go wide or deflect to the corners, then Höglander's your guy there as well. So I don't know. To me, he checks off a lot of boxes. I don't understand the reluctance to at least give him a look. If it doesn't work, then keep experimenting. But why wouldn't you try a 22-goal scorer who knows where the net is?
100%. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, it's not like he's a guy that just has a shot or just scores on the rush. I mean, he's a skilled guy. This is not like an Alex Burrows situation. Remember how long it took for the Canucks to start playing him on the power play way back when, where he, had a reputation that he was a grinder that was just banging in garbage goals. This is a guy that, I mean, he could do the lacrosse move for crying out loud, right? Like, this guy oozes skill, and has the grit and the desire, and is showing everything this year. Yeah, I mean, at the very least, it's worth a look. If you were going on pure skill, like the next most skilled guy to play on that unit, maybe based on past reputation, maybe it's Garland. But I don't love Garland's shot. So Höglander's got a better shot. He's probably a better fit there. Worth a look. I know they've tried Philip Hronek there. I hate that with the Hughes, and Hronek's a good power play player, but his spot has got to be at the top of the point. And if you do that, now you're moving Quinn Hughes, possibly the Norris Trophy winner, out of his preferred position. That doesn't make a lick of sense. It's probably going to be people saying put Nikita Zadorov in front of the net. I think that's an outdated power play strategy. It's not like we just, teams don't just hammer away from the point like they used to. So I think you need a guy that's got some ability to, retrieve pucks, like you say, Jeff, but also tip pucks in front of the net, bounce out to the side and make some skill plays. So I don't think that's an answer as well.
We'll ask you the Tim Hortons poll question here, Rob. Team offense, team defense. What is the Vancouver Canucks strength?
I love this question because I checked it out before I came on, because I saw it and I was like, of course, team offense. And then you look at the numbers. No. Like, this is not a team that generates a ton of shots on goal. They rank near the bottom of the league in that regard. They are great at limiting shots on goal. So this is not just Thatcher Demko standing on his head. And of course, Casey DeSmith has looked good this year as well. Maybe it's because their team defense has been pretty underrated this season. So I think counterintuitively, you have to say team defense.
Okay. On to your sweet spot here. You have a Frygate follow-up. After we admonished you, last week for not having Frygate on your list of preferred topics, Rob, what do you got for us this week?
You rightly shamed me last week, Matt, and I felt shame. And you know what? I went to work. I followed up with the season ticket member. She shared a photo to Twitter, just showing off all the food that she got at the next game she attended. I think the key here is she's a season ticket member, and the Canucks, if not, for all the things they get criticized about, they do look after their season ticket members. So it looked like her ticket rep reached out to her after Frygate, after the scandal that took over Canucks Nation last week, and bought her a whole bunch of food. So she did not get fries though this time. She got. It looks like she went for the.
That.
Yeah, looks like she went for the. Looks like she went for the carb sandwich with the
chips.
The potato. I'm not a fan of the potato chips. I must say, I like the sandwich, but the chips on the side they don't do it for me.
I can't blame her though. Like, she was burned.
She was scarred.
Exactly. So it's going to take a little while to work back to the fries there, I think.
Reminds me of the Billy Goat Tavern in Chicago in the SNL skit all those years ago. No fries, chips. No Coke, Pepsi, or maybe it was no Pepsi, Coke. I forget. Good follow-up, though, Rob. We were waiting for you to deliver us that story, like only you in the Daily Hive and Offside can. And you've gone and profiled Crazy P.
Yes.
This week. My mom will be very happy. She quite enjoys Crazy P's routine. She has seen it at UBC football and at Lions games and Canucks games, and he is ubiquitous on the sports scene. Crazy P.
This is an interview I've wanted to do for a little while here. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever spoken to Crazy P. It was my first time talking to him. He's everything you imagined him to be. He's got a ton of energy. Most phone interviews like this will last like maybe 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. This was 43 minutes long, you guys. Crazy P loves to talk. He is a man of the people. Like, if you get him talking about the charities that he works with and taking photos with fans and all the rest, he just lights up and he'll talk all day about that. What I was most interested in, just like, what is like a game day like for Crazy P? And I think that the money quotes from this, and I would encourage you all, of course, to click on the article and read it, but he said, it's a lot of energy, the sweat. I got to change all my clothing, my wristbands, my socks, my t-shirts. I'm drenched between each period. So he's got to go and like do a full wardrobe change after every single period. He's got like the list of things he said that he like eats and drinks between periods. It sounds like what a marathon runner would do to prepare them. But when you see him at games, like, he does not stop. Like, he is in every single section, sometimes twice. and he moves around the arena. So good on Crazy P.
He's not a young guy anymore, Crazy P. So you're quite right. Like, this is
56
sport taxing.
Yeah, he's 56 years old,
Mhm.
but he's still got a ton of energy. Yeah.
And I've gotten to know Crazy P over the years, and now that you have made him even more famous, I'm sure he'll tell me next time, say, man, you got to have me on the show. So we'll see about getting Crazy P on the show here down the road. Lastly, Rob, first place in the West, President's Trophy. Do either of those things matter to you? Should they matter to the Vancouver Canucks?
It's funny, the President's Trophy, I think if you from the feedback I've seen from fans online, I'm not sure if Canucks fans want the President's Trophy. I think a lot of fans think it's like a jinx. I'm not so sure I necessarily buy into that in the sense that, yeah, the President's Trophy team doesn't often go on to win the Stanley Cup, but it's not like the second place team in the league or the third place team goes on to win the cup more than the first place team in the league. Like, I think you want to strive for that. The one thing in the back of my mind that I wonder about is I don't love the Canucks coming into the playoffs sort of seen as like favorites, right? I think this team would strive more as, even if they're just sort of viewed as a bit of an underdog, just given, what this team has done in the last few years. So I do wonder if that puts like undue pressure on them if they are first rather than second. So I do wonder about that. In terms of being first place in the entire league or not, I don't know that matters a ton. I do think your placement in the Western Conference matters, although I'm not sure who I've still got to figure out who I think is the favorable matchup for them, because a week or two ago, I was saying, you do not want to play Vegas at all costs. But I mean, I'm starting to wonder about that take now, because Nashville is this is not just a 2-week heater that they're on. Like, they are really playing great.
They may never lose again.
I mean, they might not finish in the wild card spot at this rate, and you might end up playing, a team like Winnipeg or something like that. And that's not a favorable matchup, I don't think, for the Canucks necessarily either. So I think it's pick your poison in the Western Conference right now. I don't think there's a great matchup. But yeah, there's part of me that's starting to wonder, like, is Vegas actually the matchup that would be most beneficial to the Canucks? Like, they have struggled for a while now. Are they going to be able to just flip the switch? I think that's a difficult thing to accomplish, even for the defending Stanley Cup champion. And going back to what I was saying about, like, I kind of like the idea of the Canucks being a underdog, or at least seen as an underdog heading into the postseason. I think if they played the Vegas Golden Knights, they could kind of play up that role a little bit. Whereas I don't think they'd get the benefit of that against a team like Nashville.
Yeah, I'm sort of with you there in terms of how they are perceived, but I do wonder whether the perception will be the same across the league as it is here on the ground in Vancouver. I think you're absolutely right. Canucks fans, for some reason, are scarred by the President's Trophy, the 2 back-to-back years, and of course not winning the Cup. But you're absolutely right in that it's not like any other position in the league wins it more often. And it is, I've been saying this for several weeks here now, but it's an achievement. You've been the best team over 82 games. It should be celebrated to some degree.
Let me just add this, guys. Like, it would be unbelievable if they won the President's Trophy for the 3rd time in team history and got the defending Stanley Cup champions in the first round. Of course, they got the Blackhawks after winning the Cup when they won the President's Trophy the first time. And then they got even worse. They got the eventual Stanley Cup winners, the only team to come out of the 8th slot and win the Stanley Cup when they won the President's Trophy in 2012 when the LA Kings went all the way. So it would be absolutely Canuck luck for them to play Vegas just as they turn it around in the first round. But yeah, I kind of
like what you said, though,
because of that.
I like what you said. Pick your poison. I'm not sure, especially with how much trouble LA has given the Canucks with this 1-3-1. I'm not sure there is a a matchup that you're relishing in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Great stuff, Rob. We'll know more next week. Talk to you then.
Sounds great. Thanks, guys.
Hey, everybody. If you're enjoying what you're seeing here, then follow along with Sekeres and Price on YouTube. I promise more content coming.
The kids call it subscribe on YouTube.
Well, how about liking it?
Do that as well. Smash it right now.